let's get down to business. Give you one more night to get this. We've had a million nights just like this. So let's get down to business. Mama, please don't worry about me. Cause I'm about to let my heart speak. My friends keep telling me to lead this. So let's get down to business. Let's get down to business. Give you one more night to get this. We've had a million nights just like this. So let's get down to business. Let's get down to business.
It's time to get down to business with leading business coach Jeremy Torisk. Do you have a problem with your business?
Let's get down to business.
Marketing, lead generation, employee engagement, hiring, recruiting.
Before I don't mean it.
Call in now with your business issues and get down to business with Jeremy Torisk. Let's get you on the road to success. Let's get down to business.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to week number 3 of Let's Get Down to Business. We are live, everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in across Facebook, across LinkedIn, on YouTube. We're on Twitch. We're on Twitter. We are ready to take care of business tonight. We would like to be here talking to you all about your business because we live for that. That's what we do around here. We take people, and I see that the chat's starting to come alive. We take people who are, in my opinion, the fabric of the community. All right, America, I'm not going to get political here, but America is in trouble. And one thing that I believe is that small business is the answer. You know, when you go home after a great day, what's the first thing you want to do? You want to get home. You're so energetic. You jump out of the car. You jump in to tell your wife and the kids, what a great day, how you helped somebody, got a promotion, you made a difference, right? So what happens, though, when you have a bad day? You go home, you're dejected, you're tired, you just want to sleep. And what I think that this country needs is more success on the small business front, because what that does is the small businesses that succeed are able to hire more people. And when we teach these companies how to give the employees a purpose, a sense of purpose, sense of value, and a voice to be heard, and room to make some mistakes, and room to grow, and room to advance, they get to go home energetic. And what does that do? Where are they going home to? Their community. And this country is just made up of a bunch of small communities all sewn together. And by God, I do believe that the answer to this problem we're having in our country is not necessarily economic alone. It's not a lot of stuff alone, but it all is based on people's positive nature and people being sick and tired when they get home because they're not happy at work. And we want to change that. So welcome to Let's Get Down to Business with Jeremy Torisk. We run this show every week, and we encourage you to call in with your issues, with your problems, with whatever you think you might need to run your business better. There's a number up top. I know I keep disappearing. I'm my own producer. Forgive me. Okay. Once we get big and famous, rich and famous, we will have a producer in here, or I can teach one of my kids to get in here and do it. But anyway, disappearing act and all, 954-338-9799, AtlanticBusinessInstitute.com. I am your business treasure hunter, and it is time to get down to business. So first thing I want to talk about today, though, is something very big that happened in my life this weekend. I hit a goal that, quite frankly, I didn't ever think that I would be able to hit this soon. But in sitting back after it happened, I kind of had to put everything in perspective. And so let me just tell you, the great news is that I was inducted as the president of the Florida Speakers Association, and I couldn't be happier with that responsibility. I can't be happier with that honor and that role. And so let me kind of just Tell you right now, one of the people here in the chat is my buddy Joe Gonzalez, Mr. Joseph Gonzalez. Thank you for chiming in. Let's do this. Fabio, another person right here. He's in the chat. And I'm going to show some pictures from this weekend with Joseph and Fabio. I appreciate you. Tyler coming in, the 80-20 podcast. Tyler Meckes, my buddy. Loving it. Love the interaction between the group. Christy, my wife, was there this weekend. She's on the chat. Say hi to Christy, everyone. But let me show you guys some of these pictures because I am just thrilled at being named president. And what happened was I asked Jim Barber and I asked Carolyn Stein, to induct me, to swear me in because I really wanted to take the reins from Rachel, who's in the picture there on the left or the right, depending on, she's right above me, Rachel Henderson. She was the president and she handed the reins to me, or the gavel as it were. But I wanted to infuse the original members of Florida Speaker Association, some of the longest term members of Jim and Carolyn, and then the newest member, myself, with Rachel, who held this chapter together. Her and James Henderson were the last two presidents, held this chapter together through the pandemic, which is nothing like anyone's ever been in, but this chapter held tight. And so there's Rachel thanking Carolyn and Jim for doing their part, and then they each got to speak, and I really was blown away with these speakers, Carolyn and Jim, and just the passion that they get. They tell me I'm number one right there, Jim. Thank you very much. But the information they have to pass us and the information that I have to get from them, I have to think of so many things that they can help with. They're just a fountain of information. Jim is actually my consigliere. So there's myself giving my acceptance speech, and really did enjoy myself thoroughly. And then there's Fabio right there in the background, and Kim Beckett and Rachel and James up there. But we also are bringing in Alexandra Demosthenes, all right, Marilyn Russo, who wasn't there, David Bricker wasn't there, and also hold on, she's right there. I'm having a brain making. She's my favorite too. I'm so sorry, Laura is who I'm missing out there. So I'm sorry about that, Laura. I forgot your name for a second, but thank you all for being here. I don't know why your name isn't on the sheet, Laura, but Laura and Dave are the Academy. All right, Bonish. Thank you, Mr. iPhone. Laura Bonish. How embarrassing. But the Dave and Laura are the two Academy professors, and let me tell you, they're bringing in new talent every year. We have an Academy, and these two take so much pressure off of us. And again, there's Fabio who's on the chat, and there's Joseph in the back there. There's James there next to Rachel. We just had such a great time, and I couldn't begin to tell you how thrilled I am. One of the things, I was on a podcast earlier, and I was talking to them about becoming president at this pace, right, within a year. All right, let's, without kind of saying, oh, I did anything beyond becoming president in a year is a feat. It really is. But when I sat there and said, is it about being the best speaker? Well, God, no, it's not, because we all can hear I'm not the best speaker. Joseph is saying Bonnich. Yes, Laura Bonnich. Is it about speaking the most? Right? Am I the person that's in that group who's spoken the most out of everyone, and that's why I'm president? No, it has no factor. Right? That's not a criteria to be president. How about, is it making the most money? Right? It's all about business and making the most money. Negative. It's not about making the most money. Being president of this chapter is about sharing and inclusion and bringing everybody's speaking business to the ultimate highest level it can be within the next 365 days. It's optimizing our business. It's creating relationships. Who in this chapter right now, today, is into connecting relationships, building our businesses, and widening that net out, not only to state of Florida, local South Florida residents, but to everyone in the country, because we're hybrid. This chapter is a race car in the red, and I can't tell you that is the criteria. That's why I'm president, because I am up for that challenge, ladies and gentlemen. as are my board members. Each and every one of them could have been president, but I'm honored that they asked me to be president. And so Joseph Gonzalez and Laura Bonich and Kim Beckford and just everyone, Fabio, we are going to bang the gong. Okay, we're going to rock it. So thanks for indulging me in my victory lap here, since I was just voted this weekend. I'm still basking in that. It's quite something I'm very, very proud of, if you can't tell. So let's get down to business, shall we? I want to talk about something that this week, there's two things that really kept coming up over and again. It's about money and marketing, right? In business, two of the really the three things that really give most people problems is money and marketing, right? So I'd like to talk a little bit to each of those. And I have a guest coming on at 9:00, Mike Focara, who is also a business coach and a friend of mine from down here in South Florida. He's in the Miramar area, helps a lot of people with a lot of ways. So get your questions together. Don't worry about calling in. Call in anytime. Even if I got the guest on, doesn't matter. This show is about you. I'm Phil. I'm filling time. My mother said she's here. I'm off. When Mike comes on, he's helping me fill time. We're here to help you. So please call in with your questions, 954-338-9799, or put your questions here in the comments. Joseph's talking about brand building. Absolutely. And I count that as marketing yourself. You can either market what your company does or what you do, and that's part of branding. So people first, relationships. Absolutely. That's the other one of the other elements. But we're going to talk about right now about a book here that I am, I don't have it with me. Normally I hold the book up and I go through all the pages, but it's Profit First. It's a book by Mike Malowitz, right? God, I'm horrible. I'm ruining all the names tonight. Mike Michalowicz wrote Profit First. If you haven't read it, it's almost a mandatory reading for my clients. All right. And what it does, Mike Michalowicz took something called the here I go again, blanking. Jesus Christ, I haven't eaten all day, and I don't know why. I see Mikey's on here. It's the hold on. I should have my notes open. How about that? That way I don't have to think. If I don't have to think, it's so much easier in life, isn't it? All right, so here are my notes open. The Parkinson's Law. Parkinson's Law says that you will spend as much time or get as much done on a project as you allot the time to it. So if I have to get a lot done on a project and I allow myself so much time, well, that's going to affect how much I get done on the project. The time is going to limit the production, and you're going to get as much done as you have time allotted. What Mike did was he turned it around to money. And what he says is you will only have as much money in your checking account as you allow. So if you only have one bank account, okay, and it's called, your business account, and the money comes in this way and it goes out the same door. All right. Remember those diners with the two doors that flopped? It's really the same opening. Someone comes in one side, but it goes out the other way, but it's the same opening. If you allow your revenue to sit in the same account as your expenses, that's the Parkinson's Law effect. It's going to happen, and you're going to always be draining your expenses as quickly as your revenue comes in. And as your revenue doesn't come in, your expenses are going to slow down. Hopefully, as your revenue comes up, your expenses will go up. So Mike says, we want to put profit first. What is the number one reason that we're in business? A business is in business to make money. Okay. So let's make money. Let's guarantee we make the money. And let's go ahead and open up a secondary savings account called Profit First. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys some Excel stuff. Now, I know not everyone's excited about Excel, but I worked on this today, and I think it's pretty cool. I think it's pretty sexy, if I do say so myself. So let's just say we're going to come up with a fictional company, okay? And we're going to say that in 1 year, we're going to bill $100,000. We're going to make it a nice round number, $100,000. So what you want to do is you want to create these profit centers underneath, or these savings account. So one thing that you definitely want to do is pay yourself, and let's just start small. Okay. These numbers and these names are all theoretical, and they're all made up by me. you can make up your own accounts for your own projects and your own priorities. So I'm going to say at least I need to start off because I've been in business for 3 years and I've never made a dime. All my money's been reinvested into my business. All my money that comes in goes right back out to expenses or assets or insurance or taxes. Okay, I bet it has. So if you create this account and you want to save 5% and you want to walk away at the end of the year with 5% profit, you're not going to go to Maui on 5% of 100,000, but you are going to be in the black, and it's a baby step. And it's numbers. It's your Excel sheet. Anyone who wants this Excel sheet, by the way, put it in the, chat something, text me, email me, Jeremy Torisk at atlanticbusiness.com, and I'll give you this Excel spreadsheet. So it's all tied together to that one number up top and these 5 numbers here, or these 6 numbers. So next thing you want to say is what's really important is I pay my taxes. More companies go broke because they don't pay their taxes. They take all their money and they bring it into the company, and then they pay out their expenses. And God forbid, even worse and more stupid is they're paying themselves a salary or taking a draw without paying for their taxes. Then the year ends and they just say, well, wait to the accountant. I got a really great accountant. He'll make all the expenses in the overhead count and deductibles and deductions, and I won't owe that much. And then I'll just pay it out of my next year's income. Well, here, I'm going to give you a big X for that one. X, that's not the way to do it. That's the perfect way to go bankrupt. Trust me. So make one for your taxes. Your taxes are probably going to be 25%. All right, 25%. But you are going to have deductions, and owning a business is a great way to save money and make money and not pay. There's a lot of legal ways to not pay every single dime of the tax bill that you think you owe, because there are deductions because you're investing in the company, and there's lots of great legal deductions that you could take. So let's just say you take 15% because you're struggling at only making $100,000, and you'll take a chance on that. I'm good with that. At least that's a great honest start. Okay. So I plugged in 15%. Now I know that my insurance bill, let's say we know it costs $3,000. Well, $3,000 is 3% of 100,000. So plug in 3% of your insurance, because here's what a lot of companies don't know. Okay. They don't know because they don't look when they call the insurance place, right? And I'm sorry, Mitch, for giving the secret away, but I don't think you make the money on it. Maybe you do. Let's say you get a quote for general liability and auto and your contents and the building insurance and all this. And, let's say it's $3,000 for the year. Well, you say, okay, great. How about we do, $300 down and $300 a month. And then, the double payment last month, however, comes out to $3,000. Well, most likely that's about, I don't know, 12, 13, 14% finance charges that are going to be tacked onto this. So that 3,000 becomes, 3,300, 3,200. And you're going to be paying a lot of finance charges if you pay it monthly or quarterly or semi-quarterly or bi-yearly. There's finance charges that you're paying that you probably don't even realize. Look at that closely next time on your policy. Instead, this year, take 3% of every check, and I'm going to show you how we do it, and put it away. So that way, when your renewal comes up, you can stroke a check right to the insurance carrier and pay the retail price, the full price, with no finance charges. Okay, so right there, hopefully you save some money right there. The next one is loans. Let's say you have a couple loans coming due, and they are not due yet, but you got a couple years grace with this small business bureau giving out all these loans over the last few years. And I think in this July, I think payments are coming due. Well, you better start taking some money out for that. So I put a 5% for loan. Again, you can call this your Aunt Millie. I don't care what this line item is. It could be anything that you want to save money for. I called it loans just to prove a point. And the last one is assets. Things are always going to break. You always want to invest in the company. Well, I got 3% plugged in here. So I got 31% total on the profit, tax, insurance, loans, and assets. That leaves 69% or $69,000 at the end of the year to pay my expenses. So the first thing you got to do is go, well, shoot, do I have $72,000 worth of expenses? And if you do, you got two choices. You got a bunch more choices, really, but I'm gonna boil it down to two. You got to either cut expenses to get it down to 69 so you can save this money, or you can lower some of this stuff. So maybe you don't save for assets this time. Maybe your loan, maybe you go 4%. Maybe your insurance, you go 2.5%. Maybe your profit. Look, you always gotta profit. That's your money, but let's start making something. But maybe it's not 5%. Maybe it's 1%, 2%. Okay. Taxes, I would never go under 15 personally. And this is not financial advice, by the way. This is just business 101. And Mike I have such a hard time with his name. Michalowicz. Mike Michalowicz's advice from Profit First. So how does this look in reality? Okay. So I'm going to show you what happens here. Here is month number 1. Okay. Month number 1 comes in and you bill everybody, all your clients. And by the 10th of the month, most of your invoices are paid. 70% of your invoices are paid of that month's, the prior month's billing. What you're going to do is you're going to take whatever's in the account on the 10th of the month, whatever's in that main income account, and you're going to pay yourself first. So populate that account, that profit account, 5%. 5% of 58.33 is 291.67. The next thing you're going to do is pay your taxes. So you're going to take 15% of 58.33. Then you're going to take 3% of 58.33 and put it in for some loan stuff. Take another 3%, or 5% for the loans, 291.67, and another 3% for the assets. At the end of the day, you're going to end up taking 31% of your 58.33. You're going to move the rest of this money into the expense account, which is a separate account. It's a checking account. These are savings accounts. This is a checking account called expenses. Money comes into this account. You move the money out of here on every 10th and every 25th, and whatever's left, you put in here. And that's going to be 69% of your whatever your revenue is for that on the 10th. Now, the 25th comes, and your income has been building again because people have been paying their invoices. On the 25th of the month, if the balance of your customers paid within the first 10 days, this is 70%. These numbers are all changeable. As soon as I change it, all the other numbers change. So if you ask for this Excel spreadsheet, I'll walk you through how to use it. But hypothetically, the last 30% of your business came in by the 25th, and you have $2,500 now in your account. You're going to take 5% of your profit of the 2,500. You're going to take 15% for taxes of the 2,500. You're going to take $75, which is 3% for insurance of the 2,500, and so on. So on the 10th, you took 1,800 out. On the 25th, you took 775 out. You move the 2,500, which is not going to be 2,500. It's going to be 1,725 left, and you're going to move it down into expenses. So you're left with 0 in your income folder on the 10th, and you're left with 0 on the income again on the 25th. So at the end of the month, you had 8,300 come in. You moved out 2,500 at the end of the month in total, and you're left with 5,750 that your expense is now deducting from that account. Okay? Everybody with me? Give me a hallelujah. Month number 2 comes along, and you guys, let's say I'm using fixed numbers here, guys. I don't want to get this too complicated, right? Month number 2 comes along. You're going to do the same thing. On the 10th, you're going to move money down here. On the 25th, you're going to move money down here. Whatever's left in here on the 10th and 25th moves down to expenses, and that's what the expense paid from, and your income is left at 0. What do you think happens at number 3, month number 3? That's the magic month. Here's where everything changes. Not really. Everything stays the same. You do this every single month. Every 10th, you move your percentages down here. This is what Profit First is about. And on the 25th, you do the same. Now, we're not going to go through this 12 times. This is just what it's going to look like at the end of 1 year. This is actually where the magic does happen. If you didn't touch your savings account, And if throughout the months on the 10th and 25th, you religiously and consistently move that money down into the savings account, you're going to end up with $31,000 between those accounts. You're going to be able to give yourself a disbursement of $5,000. That's a win, right? Hallelujah. I finally made positive income, right? Fireworks, right? Bam. I got the money. I got money. I got $5,000. I got something to show for it. Now, maybe part of that 69,000 is as an expense payroll. Maybe you're already paying yourself, $20,000, and that was part of the expenses. That's fine. That's not changed. This is called profit, though. We want to talk about making profit. And at the end of the year, you can do that disbursement, or you can do whatever you want with it. Hopefully, you had enough money left over in your expenses account, and you didn't have to dip into it. And actually, on the other side of that coin, hopefully you had more money in that account that you can then go and take that profit up to 6%, 7%, 8%, right? So let me show you what some of that looks like, okay? So instead of 5%, let's say you were able to work that up to 15%, right? Now we're talking $15,000 of profit, okay? Maybe the assets didn't cover that. It's not a lot of money, $3,000. So you're working up to 6% in your assets, all right? So now you got $6,000. Maybe up here, that $100,000, all right? Let's take that $100,000 and let's move it down here where we can see it and actually do something with it. And let's play with that. And let's just show you some math here, some real general, really fast, down and dirty, easy math. Okay. I didn't think I would lose my spot this far. So let's just keep scrolling over here. Bang, bang, bang. Month 12, right there. That's where we want to be. So instead of $100,000, let's say you've increased your business to $250,000 at a 15% margin for profit. Now you're up to $37,000. See how you can play with this thing all day long. $500,000 company. This works on all size companies as long as you're not making profit and you do your pay yourself first, take these percentages down. You see month over month, it all is doing the same thing. $12,000 after month 2, right? Month 3, $18,000, right? It all keeps adding up. If you want your profit to be at 20% and you're at $500,000 of income, that's $100,000 profit. And 6% of your assets, $30,000 a year going to assets. And you'll be able to stroke that check for $75,000 come March. Anyway, you see what's going on here. The book is called Profit First. Oh, there it is. Profit First. Gosh, got lost there. Mike Focara, Profit First. That's the overarching idea of the book. I definitely. Okay, so here's some questions. Thank you, Christy. Let's go back to the accounts. Why can't you combine the accounts that you're allocating for savings or future upgrades to one account to simplify? Because it's Parkinson's law. As soon as if these are must saves, I have to do taxes. I have to have this insurance paid. I have to pay this loan back. As soon as you co-populate those lines, it's not going to go to those assets. It's not going to go to where they're allocated to. It's about having laser focus on hitting a goal, saving money for profit first, then saving money for paying your taxes, which is paramount to staying in business, having that insurance paid. As soon as you start co-mingling, which is what they call it in the fiduciary responsibility, co-mingling of funds, you lose control. Now, do you want 32 accounts here? No, you don't want 32 accounts, but you could have 32 accounts, but you don't want that. You want to take out anything that's a monthly expense is going to be this expense. If it's not a monthly expense or something you want to pay off at the end of the year, then you want a specific goal to hit on that. And then you can play with these numbers throughout the year. Let's say I'm at 6% and at 30, halfway through the year, I got 15,000 and that's all I need. Well, then you could back that 6% and make it 0 and put more towards your profit, or, invest in something else that is an expense, but you've got that money saved up from the assets, and now you can afford to pay more expenses. Does that make sense? All right, give me a hallelujah. Nobody's called in so far, so I'm assuming everybody's understanding this. Getting some thumbs up. Appreciate that. So anybody who wants this, like I said, this is a Google sheet. I can put it, I can invite anyone I want to it. If you'd like to have it, get with me on LinkedIn, text me, email me, call me, whatever you want. I can get you this sheet and we can go over it. And it's just it's not a replacement for the book. That book is amazing. All right. Thank you, Fabio. Hallelujah. Get the book. The book's amazing. We're gonna have Fabio on here one of these days. He's got a book also. It'll be usually it's at my fingerprints, but I think it's at my other desk over there. But Fabio, plug your book. All right, it's a really great book. So that is the Profit First, and I hope you guys like that. So we can go back to it. I'm gonna keep all this stuff up here, but I'm gonna move on now to the second questions this week on the marketing, and we're gonna ease back into marketing, and then when Mike comes on, we're going to talk more about marketing because it's really a good strength of his. So last week we started talking about the differences between strategic marketing and tactical marketing. And so there's Fabio's plug, Fabulous Management Simplified, and it's a great book. It's on anywhere you want to get the books from, Amazon, or look up Fabio on LinkedIn. I'm sure he will direct you to how to get his book. He's a great speaker, great business coach. He's helped build billions of dollars in businesses around the world. And so I'm hoping to do a quarter, a tenth of what he's done in his career for the business folks that I'm trying to help now going forward. So you got one hell of a head start, Fabio, but we are going to build all of this, all of us, higher and higher together through our relationships and through helping as many people as we can. So what is the difference? Got that COVID cough still. The difference between strategic marketing and tactical marketing. Let's get into strategic marketing. What are some things for strategy in your marketing? Well, it's the content of your message. It's what you are saying, and it's how you're saying it. And it includes the concepts that you want to focus on. Again, if I ask 10 people, tell me about the strategy that you're using for your marketing. Tell me about your strategic marketing plan. They're going to say, well, I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn, I do Google ads, I'm on SEO, pay-per-click, I'm on billboards, I do TV ads. None of those are strategy. Every one of those are tactics. Tactical marketing is the execution of your strategic marketing. It's the placing the ads, it's the building the website, attending the trade shows. These are tactics to get your message delivered. Which is more important? Chicken or the egg, right? Chicken or the egg. I can't tell you which is more important. I can tell you that your message is, I think, very important. And then what you could do with that message is try it out on different tactics and see which ones play best. A/B marketing, different phone numbers to see which is acting, getting better response, things like that. Also, playing with your message, putting them both on the same platform with different messages. So then you can do A/B with different messages. So you can A/B test your tactics and you can A/B test your strategies the same way. So I put a marketing message together. I might put it on Facebook and I might put it on LinkedIn. And LinkedIn gets me nothing, right? 2 different phone numbers. But Facebook blows up my phone, right? Or gets me 50 calls within the first month. And I might get 3 calls for LinkedIn. Well, then I know that's a tactical advantage to Facebook. So now I want to A/B test my strategy. So I just take my message and I put that same message, I change it. I break it in half and I change it. I keep this one that did really well on Facebook. It did really well on Facebook. But I want to change it now. I want to change it to be more business savvy. Maybe this one was more emotional, and maybe it's an alarm company, right? Let's just say, I'm just making stuff up as we go here. And you're talking about protecting your family and making your family sleep well at night and all these things. Well, that on Facebook killed, but on LinkedIn it did nothing. So take that message and change it to talk about protecting your business and all the, what if somebody broke into your business and and stole all the stuff out of your warehouse and damaged your inventory? What would that mean to you? You take both those messages and you put both of them on LinkedIn. Again, you put the other one it did horrible, but now you're putting the second one on there and see if that gets an improvement. Maybe you put that one on Facebook, both of those, and see now which one plays better. And if LinkedIn takes a huge jump, then you now know that this message works better at this tactic and this strategy works better with that tactic. And that's how you optimize your marketing. Okay. Let me get over here. Tony Robinson is chiming in. Certain products on certain for certain customers, absolutely. Combine. I'm just going backwards through the. I'm getting so wrapped up in the explanations that I'm losing out on the comments. But you guys keep me floating with these comments. Let me tell you, these comments keep my energy up. This is the energy that I need to keep talking with you guys. I've got the phone more in front of me. In fact, let me turn on volume this time because I missed some phone calls last week, to tell you the truth. So I was really wrapped up in my guest last week with Hakeem that I missed phone calls. So sorry if you called in, but definitely call in tonight, 954-338-9799. So we talked about strategy and tactics. Okay. And it's all about learning how to say these things that will make the profound difference in your marketing results. The results have been instrumental, right? The results that we've used for our clients have been instrumental in providing the success in industries across the board, right? We cover 52 industries on our software. We're the Baskin Robbins of business coaching, okay? 52 flavors. I don't care what you do. We've got something for you. The system that we talk about, we work with business coaches, social media consultants, contractors, bankers, and obviously real estate folks and brokers and mortgage brokers, restaurant owners, software companies, doctors and dentists and healthcare companies. Everybody's got a message. All right. When you master your message, you will then start selling your products based on value and worth, right? So Tony says you must know first who's your market. That's absolutely 100% correct. In order to talk to yourself, my avatar is usually myself. I picture myself in these businesses because I've been there. Not everybody can do that, but I'm in a bit of a distinction in that I was a business owner for so long. I know the ins and the outs and the fears and the frustrations and the worries and what keeps the business owner up at night. Maybe you make something that has nothing to do with what you've ever done in the past. You've got to identify who is buying that. Where do they live? What do they look like? How much money do they make? Are they married? Do they have kids? What school systems do they like? Where do they shop? All right. Where do they socially scroll? Where do they hang out? Where do they eat? Once you get this clarity picture, this very clear picture of who your client is, it's so much easier to deliver the message to them, the message of who you are and how you can help them. Mastering the message, Fabio says, keys to building value in the eyes of your clients. That's right. So once you do this, you're going to drive more leads. You're going to convert at a higher percentage. So your close ratio is going to go up. You're going to increase your number of sales. When you get more leads and you close higher, guess what happens automatically? Your sales goes up. You get bigger bang for your marketing buck, right? Your return on investment, your pay per clicks, all that stuff. And finally, you'll have control over the marketing and lead gen results that you're putting out there. And it's such a great thing to get that control, to not put money into something that you're not sure if it's going to work. It stinks. It sucks. I've been there. And it took a long time to figure this out. And luckily, I've come across the right people. I paid the right coaches. I've always got a coach or two, right? My wife's listening right now, so I can't even tell you. Literally, I cannot tell you how many coaches I have right now because she'll kill me. But I've always got at least a coach or two that I'm trying to make myself a little better. And so let's get, the purpose of messaging. What is the number one reason for marketing? There's a lot of reasons and there's a lot of legitimate, but the number one is to get your attention, get the attention of the client, get the attention of the prospect. You want to help facilitate the prospect's decision-making process by getting their attention. There are prospects out there who need what you're selling. People really have a lot of self-depreciation about themselves sometimes, these salespeople. No, be proud. You're helping. You're providing a product and a service that somebody needs. It's your job. It's your duty to provide them with this product and service. How do they know that they need it? Well, maybe you need to let them know they need it. Maybe they don't know yet. That's fine. But that's what we talked about in a couple weeks ago about the conversion equation, getting that attention and working with the articulated response and all that. But we're just talking now about marketing overall. We're not going to go that deep tonight. Sometimes you need to be educating your clients as to what you sell and how you sell it and what separates you from your opponents, from your competition. If they already know they want it, now they're trying to decide who they should buy it from. Now, this is where the rubber meets the road when it comes to having people make decisions based on value rather than basing their decision on price, which is the worst thing that you want to find yourself into, is a price war with somebody. So they might think that what you have to sell, they have questions for, but they don't really know the answers, and they're looking for you to be that subject matter expert. And so again, we got back into drip campaigning and how to overcome the objections before they even get to you. So when they get to you to buy, they just are looking for that value in that product, and they'll pay more money for it because you've done a good job with building that value. So we call this thing everything is wrong. Everything you know about marketing is wrong because prospects are not experts. They don't know anything about the relevant issues surrounding the purchase that they want to make. All they do know is they want to make the best decision. They don't want to overpay. They don't want to get hosed, and they do want to get more value than they paid for. They want a deal. And how can they get so confident that what they're about to make, the choice they're about to make, is the right choice, that they actually choose you based on the value and education you given them based over what it cost. And if it does come down to the bottom line is you've got such a great message and your competitor does, then we start getting into some other things like bundling, changing the game, right? If you're not winning the game, change it. And that's where we get into bundling. You change the offer. Okay. You're not going to take value away from the product. You're not going to take price away either, but you might take something else and add it as an added value that's not going to cost that much. And that's going to increase the value of the overall deal, but it's also going to change the deal. So they can't compare what you're giving them now to the competition because you've bundled it with something else. Then we go into the downselling and upselling and cross-selling, and man, we can go all night and go down those rabbit holes very, very fast. But we're just talking about getting their attention right now, not them on the phone, not making the final decision and bringing them through the goal line, across the goal line. We're talking about just figuring out what makes the people make these best decisions possible and make it feel like they don't have to second guess themselves, that they've got the buying decision. Making yourself the master of this is key. Getting your voice on paper, getting your voice on your website, getting these words. Fabio said, price is what customers pay. Value is what customers get from your product and your services. Make sure they have the value, and your value is much higher than the price you're charging. Absolutely. That's true. But even when that value is so high, your prices can be higher than they were once you start telling them what that value is. Remember, we talked about the internal perception and external perception, or the internal reality and external perception. We'll get into that in a little bit here. But yeah, going with the AB plan, Tony says, and Christy says, what about the 2 hour of research on my ideal client today? I was surprised at some of the characteristics. Always good to update as more comes out. Absolutely, Christy. One of the best things about keeping up with your avatar is new technology comes out. So there's new ways to talk to them. And so keeping up with that avatar and going with the newest technology, new messaging, new products, new services, a way to get that in front of them is necessary. And Tony says the best marketing plan is to go waste time with the wrong audience. All right. You say the best marketing plan goes to waste time. I don't know. I think you're missing a word here. Maybe it's my reading comprehension tonight. Fabio talks about having a coach or two. Make sure that you evolve beyond your own expectations. Yeah, my expectations are always high, and so to get those to be exceeded for myself, I'm most competitive with myself. So that is very important, is keep that coaching up there. So back over here to the to the what's and the hows of the marketing. Showing the quantifiable proof that you can actually provide the best deal in terms of price and value, showing them in advance. That's the drip campaign, all that stuff we talked about. That is very important because that's how you do it. Okay. So we are right around the corner, by the way, from our guest, Mike Focara, who's coming on tonight. You guys are going to love him. I had him on my podcast a couple months ago, and it was a slam dunk. The guy's just a great. He's a funny guy. I'll tell you that much. He's funny, and I can't wait to get him on here in about 20 minutes. About 15 minutes. Time's already going by so fast. I really do have to learn how to slow down. Right. I don't have any text messages tonight from Christy telling me how many Adderall have I had tonight. So I think I'm on the right path. But we want to communicate with our customers to pay attention to them and believe, and we want to take action. Our prospective buyers want and they need us to educate them so they can feel confident when they're making the purchases on the decision, and we go out and prove that. Right, we prove that they made the good decision. Now, if you're already competing on price, you've got to change that. That's your fault. It starts with you uh, changing that mindset from advertising on price to building your value, changing that internal truth to the external perception to make those match. That's what you have to do. So, no parameters have ever been set. No issues have ever been introduced to educate your prospects. That's why you're competing on price. You've got to set the parameters. You got to get this message to them. And when they feel like they're getting the best value from you, price is the last thing they look at. Prospect's perspective, all things appear equal. They don't really know you. So they figure out the default setting to all the business dealings that they have is the lowest price. We as consumers are bred that way. But we have an emotional part of our brain, we have a logical part of our brain. And if you really talk to the emotional part of the brain and you get them to trust you, like you, believe you, it will transmute down to the logical, and they'll talk themselves into buying your product no matter the price because of the feelings that you have delivered through your message. When you set yourself apart and you hit that emotional spot in their brain, it's called the limbic system, you will have your clients, your prospects, talking themselves into and justifying spending more money because of the educating you have done through your messaging. Really, this is very, very true. It's not a bunch of salesmanship. This is about psychology. Okay. When you allow yourself to be better than the competition and you do better marketing than your competition, it allows you to separate your business from your competition. You become the obvious choice for your prospects when you get your messaging right. And this comes back to that inside reality and the outside perception. The inside reality encompasses everything that you worked on, your messaging, getting your employees happy that we talked about at the top of the hour, working on making the values and principles align with the products and services that you offer, and then allowing your employees to make the mistakes and to grow into the company and grow with the company. And now you've got a great workplace with happy employees and great products and great services. But now you've fallen short on letting the world know all this hard work that you've done. This is very hard work. None of this is easy. None of it's natural, by the way. Zero. This is all work, hard work. But you know me, I'm not afraid of hard work, and I'm not afraid to work with you on getting this message from your internal reality to the external or outside perception. Now, your outside perception has to do with how customers perceive your products and your service and your company. Develop these through interactions that your prospects and new customers have with your business. If you provide unmatched and unequaled customer service, their perception is that you're no different or no better or no worse than your competition. So you have to change that to far exceeding their expectation, far exceeding what they expect on that value side. but overcoming the objections and feeding them and giving them for free with no risk all the information they need beforehand. Most of this stuff that I talk about on these shows, these are my high dollar training points. These are my closers that I get people to buy into the system on. Or they can just watch the show and get it for free. Right? We give this away. The more stuff you give away, the more people you touch, the more people know what you do, the more people that like you and trust you, and the more people they'll tell about coming and allowing you to help them. Just like a BNI group, right? I belong to the best BNI. BNI's BNI Warriors. Go President Kevin Thatcher. We had a group today come together, and small group, about 8 or 9 of us, and we just got to learn again, it's about repetition. What do you do? Who do you help? How do you help them? That way I can find your perfect client. Same way with you, giving your message over and over and over again with consistency. Well over 95% of businesses are completely inept when it comes to marketing. You definitely will stand heads and shoulders above your competition without a lot of effort. I'm telling you it's hard work. I'm telling you it's consistent. I'm telling you it's a lot of effort, but it won't take much to set you apart. And when you get that discipline down and you get that consistency in, it becomes easier. It becomes more comfortable. You get more used to it. You see what works and you repeat it. But if you just outwork your competition on the messaging, that's a big percent of the battle, getting them to notice you. We got Peter Ray checking in from Raleigh, North Carolina. ABC, always be closing, always be connecting. Absolutely, 100%. This always has to do with closing on every day when I'm talking to people on my messages here, on my LinkedIn. I give away a lot of content. That's a form of close because I'm showing you. I don't hold anything back. I'm giving you my best stuff because what backs it is how I can attune that or align that with you, with your business, with your clients, with your workers. That's what sets us apart. That's why, frankly, I can give you all this for free all day long. You still need to be walked through it. You still need to go through the right number, the right order, So that's what sets us apart. It's 8:53, everyone. No other questions tonight about marketing on this little, what did I call this? This little presentation of sorts. We're going to get Mike on the line here. Mike's going to go over and I'm going to pull up now last week, this was a shit show. I promise you. We're getting when Hakeem came on, it was not pretty. I worked on it this week. I wrenched on it with Amani Roberts. Christy says, put your message out there and building relationships because one is going to look for someone hiding while your competitions are easy to find. That's true. That's true. No one's going to no one's going to look for somebody hiding. That's true. Put it out there and you do it in a way that touches them and you're going to be ahead of the game. So last week we had Hakeem on. Hakeem is a leadership coach who is helping businesses, especially legal and educational businesses, help people advance through the ranks who probably aren't ready yet. How many times have you had a job and was really good at what you did? I mean, you were like the go-to person in your department. And then you were tapped. They said, you need to be manager. You need to be a supervisor. You need to help me get these other people in line. And they make you a manager and they make you a supervisor, but they didn't tell you how to manage or how to supervise. Hakeem does that. Hakeem was on last week. He's really got such a great tactic and strategies of how he works with his internal leaders to make them real leaders, to make them ready for the jump. If you are a university, okay, if you're a university and you have faculty who have been there for years and they're doing really well with the students and you tap them for staff, that transition is the exact same transition as a technician who's going to be moved over to management. So if you're listening to this and you know somebody who is in a university who is a faculty member, or you know some faculty member who's going to be transferring from classroom to head office or admin, they need to talk to Hakeem. So I just want to give him a shout out because he really is really good at what he does. You know, we talk about the differences between Hakeem and me. if it has to do with a person, right? If it's got to do with a personnel move, of course, I can help most of that, but especially in the legal realm and the educational realm, Hakeem really has his shit together. When it comes to your bottom line, your dollars and cents, your 12 foundational elements, your sales teams and your marketing teams and your marketing messages and your HR and all that stuff, onboarding, hiring, and all that stuff, disc assessments, all that stuff. That's what I do. And then if something branches off, I can now slide that right over to Hakeem, if it's especially if it's in the legal area or educational area. That's where his sweet spot is. So we are going to try this again. We're going to bring on, oh boy. I say, Mike, are you muted? Let's see you unmute. We're going to go here. Bing, bang, boom. Pow. I think, hold on. I don't hear you. Hold on. I'm not muted. You're not muted. This cannot happen again because you hear me this time? I hit mute. Not there. I don't hear you, buddy. I just had you working an hour and a half ago. We didn't touch the system. Hold on. I'm not gonna have you call in today though. I'm deciding we're gonna make this work. I'm going to Roadcast. That's not the problem. God dog it. Mike, I can hear you LinkedIn, not on ping. There you go. Hell yeah, we're on. Woohoo! We are on. Let's go. Fireworks. I'm going to roll out all the toys. There we go. Sound of Rooster, because everybody knows what that is. We are going to get to it. Welcome. It works. I'm happy. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Smoking. I wish I had some tequila in this. But shalom. Thanks for coming on, my friend. Man, we are firing on all cylinders today. Good. I'm glad. I'm looking forward to you to pick up some of the load because my throat is killing me. I haven't even eaten since the meeting this morning, and that was a couple of pieces of fruit, and I might have smuggled a donut out on the way out. Okay. I'm hearing that they can't hear you. I can hear you. If they can't hear you, we're gonna have to call because that's the one thing we couldn't test. Is anyone else? Oh boy, yeah. Hold on a second. Yep, that's you. But let me get one thing, Fabio. Thanks for telling me that. Nope, all my levels are on. You might just have to call in. But maybe there. Hold on. Maybe there was a lag. Can anyone confirm that we can hear Mike? Yeah, I know. I have headphones. Hi, Andrea. But I see the levels bouncing. If you cannot hear Mike by now, we need to have him call in. All right. Well, I'm gonna have to figure this out tomorrow. I don't want to waste much more time. This is really, really annoying. This system, this whole ping system. We got to come out with another system. Anyway, give me a call because I got to put you on the old bat line. All right. Thank you guys. So Mike's going to call in this second week in a row now. Last week I couldn't hear Hakeem, and now I hear Mike, but you can't. So we're baby steps, right? We're baby stepping towards success. Okay. Is this you calling? Hello.
Hello.
Who is this?
This is a caller.
Nice. Woohoo. Hey, Mike. All right. Now you should all be able to hear Mike. I got him on my trusty iPhone. Right. So you don't sound quite as well because I know you got a high dollar mic there, but you sound, but at least you sound. At least you sound.
There you go. Yeah.
So Andrea, Fabio, Christy, I think we could all hear Mike now.
Good deal. Good deal. We're rocking and rolling.
So tell us about yourself, Michael. I could do an introduction, but yes, everyone can hear you now. Tell us about yourself. You're the company that you founded and that you run, and you're also down here in South Florida in Miramar area. But I don't think that stops you from helping people around the country. Tell us who you are, buddy.
No, yeah, I appreciate it. So, who I am is at 42 still an ongoing discovery, as I like to say. I still say I don't know what I want to be when I grow up, but I'm figuring it out. Long story short, terrible student as a child. And what do terrible students do? They become teachers. So I became a teacher. I ended up teaching high school totally by mistake. Just had someone come in, one of my former teachers actually, and say, "Hey, do you want to substitute teach?" I said, "Absolutely." Fell in love with it. Taught for the better part of a decade. Taught ethics and Bible. Ended up getting my master's in educational technology, which again is ironic. And after I got my master's, I was like, "Wow, this is expensive. I got to pay for this." And my wife was having another baby, so I got an administrative job. It's so funny. You were just talking about going from the classroom to administration. I did that. And the administrative job I got out was actually at a school that was hiding a startup in there.
Oh boy!
And it was a learning management system, and it was it's in my book, so you can read all about it. Not to plug it, but that's a long story. But I was scared, but we ended up growing into about 38 different states. Got investment from a guy by the name of Wayne Huizinga, which once again, being from South Florida, if you're listening to this, you know Wayne. If not, he's the guy that didn't found Blockbuster, but really took it over and grew it. Waste management. Used to own the Miami Dolphins. And I got promised a lot of things: stock options, my own private plane, equity in the company. I got none of that. Got to fly on Wayne's private 747 jet, which if you ever drove past Fort Lauderdale Airport there, the big one with the Dolphins logo on it back in the day that was there. But at the end of the day, learned a lot and said, hey, I can either go back to the classroom administrative job, stay in education, or I think I could help people that want to start educational companies. That's where I started, helping educational companies grow and scale. And over the last 10 years, it's grown into all different types of companies. I've worked, from oil and gas, telecommunications, call centers, cigar companies we're working with right now. So just you name it, I've probably worked in all those different industries. And that's why I say I don't have to decide what I want to do when I grow up, because if I'm interested in the industry, I'm like, let me go find a client there and I'll test it out. And that's really something that I've enjoyed. And a little nutshell to I'm kind of like an outsourced COO, if you will, is how I've labeled it. But we focus on marketing, sales, and implementation, the three things any business needs.
Marketing, sales, and implementation. So let's break down some of those, okay? First of all, what is historically or these days the most fun industry that you like working with, what kind of people, or is it a certain, is it a certain departments within most industry? Because business is business, right? But where are you living? What's your jam these days?
And this is a bit of a generality. We'll start there and we'll get a little more specific. I love female entrepreneurs and business owners. Yep. I mean, they're the best to work with, and I kid around and say, and maybe I'll get in trouble for this, but they ask for directions, right? Like they're willing to say, hey, where do I go? We're working with some of the male entrepreneurs. They're very, I got this. I know what I'm doing. It's the next, I'm a disruptor, where female entrepreneurs, I just found they're collaborators. And a lot of the businesses, in the educational space I've worked with, Top Score Writing is one of them right now that we're really blowing up. We do a lot of work in the BPO and call center space, which was big during COVID. So we got to help a lot of people, which I really enjoyed. And, working with clients right now in the, one client in the cigar industry that's doing stuff with tech, to make cigar boxes interactive and smart. So those are kind of the things that I'm really excited about right now. Yeah. It's pretty neat. We're doing some work with Chato Jocinco's 85 cigars, Cigar Blondie, who's in Boca, Fiotega as well. So really excited to be working on that because I'm an avid cigar smoker, and that's kind of the fun things I'm working on right now.
So when you talk about sales, marketing, and implementation, then of those three, let's just take those one by one. What are most people getting wrong with each one of those three these days?
I think once again, starting high level, they're either only doing one of those really well. Like you kind of mentioned earlier, they're putting a lot of effort into marketing, or they're putting a lot of effort into always be closing, or they're putting a lot of effort into developing the greatest app that ever exists, but they're not doing all three, right? The businesses that are failing are doing really well in one of those three areas, and businesses that are succeeding, I get around and say they're half-assing those three areas because they're putting the effort into each one. If you're marketing correctly and you're marketing honestly, you're going to generate great leads that you could sell to. If you're being honest with your sales leads and you're qualifying them and you're making sure they work and you're closing the right type of clients, you're going to be able to deliver on what you say you're doing. And if your implementation process and customer support is there after the sale, I hear so many sales guys say, not my problem. I throw it over to the implementation team, and then they got to deal with it. If that's the case, if you really don't have good customer service and you're not there, I've seen people with a terrible product and great customer service win over a great product with terrible customer service every time. And it's a tough market. So I would say in the general aspect, that's what I see with a lot of those companies, and that's how some of the smaller companies I've worked with have been able to take down the big boys.
So how do you go about doing the assessment and figuring out what's broken, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a simple thing. I love SWOT analysis, right? We come in with that, and it keeps everyone honest.
Weakness,
it's in black and white.
Opportunities and threats.
Opportunity and threats. Yep. And that's usually the way I can see. And then it's tell me your story, right? And you mentioned something earlier when you talked about marketing. It comes down to messaging.
Yeah.
One of the first things we do with our clients on the marketing side is we create a message map. And that message map lets them really explain well what they do. So many companies like, well, what do you do? And they go right into this like verbal diarrhea of just like, well, we do this and blah, 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 blah. We have,
here's 1,001 ways we help people.
Yeah, we can change what time the sun sets, and I mean just everything that they can do, and who they're helping, and what their charity cause. Whoa, like let's get this. So
Shut up, Turbo.
Alicia, Alicia, who's my business partner, is amazing. She's got a lot of experience in the corporate area, and she used to be a reporter. She always says in PR, it's the 5 things, right? So on your 5 fingers on the back of your hand, as you're talking about what you do, you should always be able to tap each finger and hit on those points as you're going through. And it should be quick and be able to do that. That's the first thing we do is get the message concise. And once we do that, everything else builds off of that. Everything on the social strategy, everything on the messaging of what we do, the sales pitch, the close, how we're going to put the sales stages in the CRM, everything really builds off that messaging. And then we, once again, we look at delivering the product, and making sure we're servicing the clients correctly.
So then when it comes down to implementation, is that more on the delivery of the product or the promises that you made on the services, and then how you back it up when they have a problem, or when they, even hell, do you have I think implementation also goes so far as to say systems and processes. What's your system to ask for referrals? What's your system for asking for an upsell? All right. Or follow up on a lost sale. What's your system for following up on calling the person back who said no to you 2 months ago? Right, and feeding them some more information, and so that.
Oh, sorry, there was a little bit of delay. I apologize. I didn't mean to interrupt you. The biggest thing that we deal with now, Jeremy, though, is it's in my head. I've got it. I know. Like I work with them, and we do this, and like, whoa, wait a second, and God rest his soul. We had a guy on our team, Jeremy, and not you, but he passed away unexpectedly. Young guy. In his late 40s, passed away unexpectedly. He worked on our team, and I always, I called the Jeremy effect. I'm like, what if something happened tomorrow?
Yeah,
could your business still run? And Jeremy, unfortunately, when he passed away, his whole business fell apart because everything was in his head. He was the only guy doing it. Great guy, super talented. Yeah. But if it's all in your head, or there is no process, that's a loss. Yeah, you know what I mean? That's the biggest thing we have to do is say, okay, how can we even, before you're even doing some of that analysis you talked about, I saw the great spreadsheet you put together and everything you're doing. Most people aren't even like in it. Okay, do we have, we're using something like Trello or Asana or Monday.com to at least track the flow. I don't care if you're a one-man army, solopreneur coach, or whether you're running a multi-million-dollar company. It amazes me how many people are not running things in a process. And we say, okay, let me take it out of your head at least and put it on paper. And then that also frees up whoever that person is, whether we're working with an entrepreneur, whether we're working with, someone in the business, the COO or vice president, like, let's free up some of your time. Let's get you some more free time on the book.
SOPs,
by
baby.
Defining that process. Yeah. And it amazes me how many companies, big and small, I wish I could say it's just the entrepreneurs. You'd be surprised how many large businesses I've seen making 7-8 figures a year. And I'm like, so you mean this is all on a spreadsheet? You got
I call it the lottery effect. What happens when Brian over there, who runs your whole sales department, wins the lottery and it doesn't come in Monday, who's gonna unlock the door.
I'm Italian, so someone's gonna get whacked eventually.
I know.
I'm always worried about that.
Everyone said, what if I get hit by a bus? Like, why can't the poor kid win the lottery?
What if this guy goes away? What if he's not here anymore? What are we gonna do?
What if someone makes him an offer he can't refuse?
Yeah.
So when you my sister's texting me now. Sorry. When you take those into consideration, if you had all 3 of them FUBAR, do you give any priorities as to where you start?
I mean, I think, are there absolutes? Yes. I always say you might as well go back to square one to start with messaging. I'm really a firm believer in that, because that leads into messaging. It leads into it and also sets your core values in a lot of way, right? Yeah. Because I'll say, okay, but like, wait a second, does that line up with? Can we do that? Yes. And then what's our core values? Like, what do we believe? What do we want to be as a company? Like, because you only get one at bat. You'll take the swings, but you're only going to get one at bat. Yeah. And I think it's important to start there in most cases, right? And sometimes it's not necessary. Sometimes it's just, I mean, there's one business that we're working with right now that I can think of. I mean, they're a subscription business and they're making money hand over fist, but they're a hot mess on the process side, right? And they're like, oh, but we want to fix the marketing. I'm like, you should probably fix the process first, because when we get that marketing firing, you know, the product, because the marketing is going to be easy because we already see that it works. We just need to scale that. But if we do it, we're going to break them on the back end.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It varies on what needs to be done in the different areas and where people work. So it varies, but usually messaging is the first thing.
And I think that for what I've experienced is cash flow is the worst thing. You know, how do you get their cash flow? I mean, yes, you got to start in the messaging, but they need triage. They need an influx of cash, you know? So for that too, that's when you go back to that spreadsheet too, is where are you on your prices? When's the last time you had any sort of price rate hike? And where are you on your expenses? I bet you there's a lot of people, a lot of companies, especially the larger the company, the larger the chances of there's so much waste going out to products and services that you employed or that you could go back easily and renegotiate at this point. And it all adds up. It all adds up. That's why it's the bottom line, because it all goes to that bottom line. And that's the end of the day. Everything you do as an effect on everything else, that's where that exponential growth comes from. So one of the things that I do pride myself on, and as being an example, one of the worst questions I was ever asked in an interview was, how do I crush the competition? So I hope that this proves that I don't believe in that. You know, I crush competition, you know, in my head and myself. But you know, bringing people on like you that do almost the exact same thing I do, but you have different software platforms, you have different experiences, you have different history, you have different everything is different. And there's no way that if there was 100,000 of us, just you and me, just duplicates. And that's really what it would take to take all these businesses that have problems and make them better as quickly as we need to. So, you know, I never am worried about, you know, my business has my name on it. My future business has already been decided by the universe. And then so having people on like this, I hope we get that. You know, I want to be that shepherd that shows people open up to your competition, and they will find you. You'll find out more about yourself by learning more about them in a very transparent way than you will just looking at all the negative and being negative and pushing things down and putting boots on people's necks. That's not the way to win. At the end, I have never found that way. So
I agree with you.
I want to thank you for coming on this show. You know, I took that long way around patting myself on the back, but that was really to say thank you for coming on, because you know what we do.
Yeah, and I think too at the end of the day that, you know, I always say you'll know when you have to play defense. Like, stop coming out playing defense. Like, how about you score a few points first and then worry about playing
Act
defense?
like you've been there, right?
Everyone's like, it's like, you know, the market may not need defense. You could probably play offense all day, and that's way more fun putting points on the board than it is, you know, fighting off the competition or trying to take them down, or we're better than pizza place down the road. Like, you know, congratulate pizza place down the road. You know, say, hey, we're so excited to be in the same neighborhood, and hopefully their customers one night come to us. I mean, you win. You know, you get more flies with honey, right?
Yeah.
You do with vinegar. So, or bees, I think it is. I may be screwed up saying tonight, Jeremy. See, you're not alone.
Tell us a little bit about Socks on a Rooster. Like Socks on a Rooster. You know, I'm gonna go away from us for half a second. I just hate to come back and you know, but there, I believe that's it. Socks on a Rooster, available at a very reasonable price, a very lucky price, $777 on Amazon. A guide to busting the entrepreneurial cliches that are holding you back. So tell us a little bit about this book. Definitely a lot more about the name, and you know, where did this come about?
Well, it's selling so well that Amazon discounted it from $19.99 to $7. I'm crushing the competition.
Hey, listen, these self publishing stuff is not a game for the faint of heart, but it's really these are $5 business cards. You know that.
And I always laugh when someone says they're an Amazon bestseller. I can take a secret on how that's done too. It's not that difficult. But that's really why I wrote the book, right? The title is kind of a nod to my father. My father's been my greatest mentor and person in my life that always guided me. And it's the same my dad always used to say when we were kids. So if we had a move of, you know, I always say we didn't buy new furniture. My dad just liked to move the furniture around so it seemed like it was new in the house. And it's like I hated moving furniture by the time I was in my teenage years. So it's just like I'm like, Dad, no, I'm not doing it. But every time we get that furniture in the right place, or we get something really right, or we do something well, or like I said, when we got the audio on, he would say like socks on a rooster. And then as I got into my adult life and started teaching, I said it in college a few times, and everybody I think was drinking and on drugs, so they didn't say much about it.
Yeah.
But when I started teaching, kids will say something to you. They'll tell you. So I started saying when I was teaching class, and they were like, hey, what does that mean? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. That doesn't make any sense. And I started explaining it to them. And when I explained it, they kind of laughed. But then they got it and started to use it. And I feel like in entrepreneurship, we do the same thing. We keep saying these cliche things, and we keep saying, network is your net worth, and all these different things that we don't really know what they mean. And there's a deeper meaning on utilizing and implementing those cliche things instead of just saying them and being, I always say like the cliche parrots you see that are the business coaches, like you said, they're out there. And it's like, yeah, but there's more behind that. So I'm big on debunking and mystifying those. Like I said, your network is my favorite one, because I see all these guys hanging around these high net worth individuals. I'm like, no, you're a groupie. I'm like, there's a difference, right? Like you're in the entourage or you're a groupie, but you're not growing. And there's a big difference between doing that,
Yeah, that's funny because there's also the counter cliche that's always true too. So if your network is your net worth, and you want to be the smartest guy in the room, then you're looking around going, well, shit, I don't want to be the dumbest guy in the room either, right? So there's always that double-sided coin there that you need to hang with people right in the middle there. You want to be a little better than somebody because you want to be helping, and you don't want to be always the head of the class. But some of my favorite ones are Steve Noodleberg's and his 27 Confessions of a Serial Salesman. He's got a couple of them, but they're money, man. He's got them boiled down to the money ones. My favorite is difference between contract and contact is the letter R. And of course that little R stands for relationships. That's my money go-to. And I always give that nod to Steve, but you're right. There's a lot of other ones out there that people use all the time, and they don't even know what the hell they're talking about. They're just so used to pushing it down. So how do you start talking real lingo, real language to the people that you're trying to train or bring up through the systems? How do you break that habit?
It's my favorite word and my least favorite word at the same time, transparency, because I think everybody overuses that one as well. But I think it's like, you don't have to be an expert on everything, and like you said, there's things that I know that I've learned and experiences I've had, and some of them are right, some of them are wrong, some may work for some business, some may work for another. And you do the same thing I do pretty much, but you may have things that you've learned and things that and may help some business, may help others. I think it's about understanding that collaboration and listening. It's always, the expression, you have two ears, one mouth.
Yeah.
Listen more than you're talking, and then I say you have two eyes as well. Look what's going on. More than you're talking.
I had
what I mean?
one.
So if you're,
this week I heard one on a TEDx. Be more interested than interesting. Try to be more interested than interesting. I love that one because that one's pretty cool.
Yeah. And I think, Brad Lee says that all the time. He said there's this guy that sent him an email that he had a great conversation with him on a flight. He goes, I didn't say one word to the guy, just kept saying, oh yeah, really? That's interesting. Tell me more. Oh yeah. And he thought he was a great conversationalist, So I think it is about authenticity. I think when you're on social media, and I'm going to call Joseph out a little bit because I saw Joseph Gonzalez comment on there and I connected with him right away. And he was quick to the draw, man. He sent me a video. He sent me a thank you for connecting. But as soon as I hit play on his video, I got to think, I think this is the biggest mistake most people make on social media. And I applaud Joseph for his effort. I think it's great, but I think he needs to make this one edit to his video. He did the, hey, LinkedIn community. Hey, you guys. Hey, how everybody doing? He went with the broad audience. Here I thought I was getting a personal message from him, and I'm like, oh man, it's a broad audience. All he needs to change is one thing on there, because who's looking at that video on their phone? It's just me. Like when he says, you guys, I look behind me. There's no one behind me, is there? I'm not getting clipped, am I? You got to just say you. Hey, I appreciate you connecting with me. I appreciate you sending this out. I wanted to share this video with you so that you know a little bit more about me. Doing things like that and connecting that way, and I think a lot of people are trying to come on and they're like, hey, Facebook world, or hey, IG, like all of IG is not watching you. Like we see the number in the corner. Like we know what's going on. Like just be honest. Hey, I know you're watching. I appreciate you watching. And I try to do that on my podcast a lot. I appreciate you guys turning in, or I appreciate you turning in. versus the you guys. It makes such a huge difference in the personal connection. And more importantly, it's to me, it's a little more authentic than just the, hey, you guys.
Yeah.
Like, there are no you guys.
That reminds me
it's
of
one-on-one,
yeah.
you know?
That's right. And it's always better if you're going to send those videos too. I found even more the next level that, all right, hey, Mike, you know,
Yeah.
like make that video, make it, then attach it. So, and I mean, it's been 2 weeks since I did this thing, and I totally forgot I could have been showing all of these the whole time instead of talking about them. But we're getting some people chimed in here, and so that's really cool. I can show these kind of things. I totally forget about this. Normally I do things every day. You know, you got to get in there, but doing this every week, you lose a lot of stuff. But yeah, so
you're doing it. That's the important thing.
Yes, we're doing it. And then next week it'll come a little easier. But Joseph is a guy who believes in getting 1% better, and Joseph is a star at LinkedIn stuff. So I'm sure that advice and comment and observation will go not unheard. And
his video was awesome. That's the thing. Even I learned something from watching it. Right? I love the cuts. I love the way he had it in there. It was a little bit. I'm like, oh, this is great, you know. But like every time I see it, I'm like, this is the you thing. I'm like, that would have crushed it.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, well, he's another guy who don't sleep, so I'm sure he'll be right on that. He's in the gym 3 in the morning.
Or he's gonna unconnect with me on it. Like,
no, he will not do that. He's not afraid of getting better. That's for sure. No one on my show, no one who chimes in on my show is afraid of getting better or of critiqued.
I love it.
Yeah, he was on actually my first show. He was calling guest for the first show before I got this video.
It's a great point, Jeremy. How many of us are sending out our social and saying, hey, rip me apart, right? Critique me. Tell me what's good. Tell me what's bad. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like, you know. And I know you said your mom was on before I always get around. I'm like, yeah, my mom's always on. My mom liked every post. I had to tell my mom, I'm like, can you please stop liking my stuff? I don't know whether or not.
Yeah, my aunt kept calling me. Oh, she said, so what do you call it? She's good looking. Just go good looking. You're embarrassing me, Ma. You're embarrassing me, Aunt Kathy.
I'm like, Mom, I'm trying to see if this really works. Like, she'd like it, and then like 5 of her friends would like it. I'm trying to see if I'm reaching my core audience. Like I just.
So we have a lot of coaches on, watch the show. I train and coach a lot of coaches, and in fact, my whole business has been pivoting lately to group coaching, group coach coaching too, right? Coaching the coaches in a group setting, because it's just economy's bad, man, and people are trying to find out how can I help people, but how do you get started doing it? So I'm really applying my marketing messages, changing to entrepreneurs or executives who just didn't make it through this thing, but have 30 years of experience, 25 years of experience of growing companies and helping people. They can become a coach. Okay. If they can become a coach and take a system over and start helping, giving at the benefit, being the beneficiary of spreading their years of wisdom to younger people who could actually go out there and take that mantle on. What do you think the way to market, and reach these people for newer coaches to go out there and get new clients? And what was your struggles when you're starting to get new clients? I had a huge network. It wasn't as hard for me to transition from entrepreneurship to coach because I just had such a great big network. But for somebody who's starting out these days, like I said, there's so much opportunity. What do you think the best way to go about getting new clients are for new coaches?
I think, you need to figure out the difference between advice and coaching, right? And I think a lot of new people misunderstand that for 2 reasons. Number one, I think you need to know what your good advice is, right? Know what you could be giving out, and advice, give out for free. Put that on social media. That's the stuff you should be talking about. Too many people go right to the sale, right? Just give the good advice. Start putting that out. And then I think you have to look at, hey, if you have a wealth of experience in whatever industry, right? What was your thing that you were, your specialty? And then what were you really great at in that specialty? Develop coaching around that, whether it was training employees, whether it is, bringing up leaders, identifying, weaknesses or finding, where the leakage is in spending or whatever it may be. Find that one thing, narrow it down as consistently as you can to the one service that you offer. Can you do everything? Yes. But and I think that's the thing. Everybody comes out, well, all right, I'm going to put out these 6 things I can do and see which one people
That's great advice.
No, that's the biggest mistake. go out and give advice on those 6 things. Give that out for free. But what do you do as a service? Hey, this is what I do. I come in and I look at your financials and I say I'm going to be able to solve this. Because if you look at who's starting to win on social media, and you talked about accounting before, right? Good friend of mine, Tyler McBroom, great accountant. I met him probably 5-6 years ago through a podcast, Facebook Live, just like this. Connected him with one of my clients, developed a friendship with him over the years, and he's an accountant. All he gets on is talk about accounting for small businesses. And just by putting that content on social media, he's been able to speak on Tony Robbins' stage. Tony Robbins reached out to him. Damon John reached out to him and asked him to do something. And he wasn't trying to do this thing like, hey, I want to be on the stage with the biggest people, and that's my goal.
Like some of us.
Yeah. He was just consistently coming out and saying, here's my advice on accounting. Here's my advice on accounting to small business. And he's grown this just massive, and I've been able to develop a friendship with him, thankfully. But he's been able to develop a massive, accounting business by just giving advice for free.
And for free.
But then knowing the one thing he does really well when it comes time to sell. So he may be giving advice on stuff, but what he sells is one thing: accounting services for small to medium-sized businesses. That's it. Could he do more? Could he do scaling? Could he do help businesses and do social media marketing and teaching how to connect with influencers? Absolutely. But does he do any of that? No. He focuses on accounting, and that's where the win is. And a lot of coaches come out too broad in the early stages.
Yeah, that was a big mistake of mine, as a matter of fact. The platform.
I did it too. Guilty.
Yeah, the platform lends itself to it. So then you start telling everyone I can help everyone with everything. You can't help anyone. One of my old coaches, Kevin Snyder, talked about chasing 5 squirrels. You're not ever going to catch any of them if you're chasing 5 squirrels. And then Lisa Ryan is a speaker who I had dinner with this week. Christy and I took her to dinner. She was down here for a speaking engagement. And she talked to me about, we just had this exact conversation about how do you narrow it down, all right? And we're you got to whittle it down, maybe to 2 or 3 things. And then from there, kill one, marry one, F one. You got to come up with one. Which one do you marry? Which one do you kill? And then you got to pick one. And that's what you got to be known for. It's about that brand.
Yep.
Now, what Ray Leone tells us, and that's the guy who he came up with not click funnel, but lead funnels, sales funnels, doesn't matter what you do to get in the door, just get in the door. So that one thing will get you in the door. From there, you can go anywhere you want to go. Once they get to know you and like you and trust you, and they see they can know what you're talking about, they'll listen to you on everything else that's wrong with their business. But getting into that business consistently throughout the history from start to where you get that name recognition along, you got to go down to one. And that's definitely what I've been struggling. So let me see. Fabio's got something here. All of us who help people succeed are guilty of trying to do and be everything for all of our clients. That's so true. And again, that's the same thing with business owners.
Yeah.
And if you're doing that and you're not successful, how could you expect a business to help a business be successful when it comes to helping them with their message? I understand we all have our own blinders, right?
Yeah.
But if you're not preaching, which if you're not walking the talk, that's going to bite you more times than not too.
Yeah. Yeah. And we want to serve, I think we want to serve. And that's the thing. It's like, so you want to help people. So you get so broad. I think the same is true in your business, right? I always tell the business when, you talked about earlier, I said, look at the 4 things you do good, learn those, do those in your business when you're starting out. And then think of the one thing out of that 4 that you do great. That's what you need to do in your business. And then you need to hire for the other 3 because you know whether or not people are being honest or doing them and doing it right, or whether they're BSing you.
Yeah.
And that's every time. That's how you grow. That's how you grow.
Yep. And that's, delegating that power and stuff and getting it out of your head, getting the SOPs done. It all comes down to the same thing. And that's why, when you work with, 14, 15, 20 industries, it doesn't matter because it's just business. Business for the most part is just a very simple equation, but there's nothing easy about it.
Yeah. And I wish I knew that when I was younger, because I think there was always a mystique around each day. Well, that would be really hard to do, or be hard to learn, or hard to understand, or hard to get into. It's like, man, if you're just willing to take the time and be around it and talk to the experts and learn from someone, it's amazing the things you could do. You almost felt like you had to own it and understand it out of a book more than talking to people. And I think the next round of business owners and coaches and entrepreneurs have such a wealth of like fear eliminated for them. And I think that it's such an exciting time ahead with that.
It is.
You know?
Yeah. For my new heroes, Patrick Bet David. I mean, I just turned on to him.
Oh,
but
yeah.
There's all these new guys coming out who have done it. You know, not just taught about it, just done it. They've done it. And that's what makes me go, the stratospheric level that some of these people are in and on, that's all obtainable for any of us. It's all obtainable. Because if they could do it just like the first guy who broke the 5-minute mile, the first guy broke the 4-minute mile running, you know, it was within 2-3 years, it was done. It was not even news, you know?
Yeah.
So doubling their money.
Such a short period of time. You look where some were 5, even 10 years ago, not even near where they are right now. And everyone's like, oh, it's too late. I can't, you know, I know the old Gary Vee added, if you got time, but it's like at any minute, like you can flip the switch and figure it out. And you're be amazed at how fast it goes.
Yeah.
You know, you'd be amazed.
It comes back to the mindset.
Yep.
You know?
Yep, absolutely.
Well, I think, you know, I say we're going 8 to 10, and last week I did a little early. It was just a crap show. This week is going well, but, you know, I don't want to push things just to push it to a certain time. And I think that we've done a very good job here tonight. I think I shared some knowledge. I think I had some great comments on here. You've come on here, spent more time than you committed to. So I want to keep you honest on what I promised you. What do you want our audience to know before we land the plane here? Because I'm gonna do this how I feel. You know, right? And I feel like we've done a good job, and I think that this is a good point to say. How can you help people? What do you want anyone listening to you right now to know about you or who you can help? Because we want to show our appreciation and love for you coming on and educating us.
I mean, you know, first off, and I'm going to say this, and I mean this thoroughly. I really believe in what you're doing with this show. So the first thing I would ask them is, listen, man, share this out. Tell somebody about it next Wednesday. You know, get them on. Tell people to call in. Tell them to be there.
Yeah.
Because if we don't grow things like this, because this information I think that you're giving out is so valuable, and I think it's taken for granted in some ways in people realizing that they'll want to ask Gary Vee one question, where they could probably get on and ask you 10.
Yeah.
And get more value.
We'll be on till midnight.
From Gary. So, but I'm just saying, like I think people need to, you know, think of someone you know that maybe needs help in business and share a show like this, right? Introduce it to this show or a podcast you listen to. I mean, share something out to someone that you think may be struggling or maybe early on. And I think, too, look at somebody that maybe you said, because I know I've done this before, and listen, Jeremy, I'm so guilty of this, looking at social media and being like, that guy's got no fucking idea what he's doing.
Exactly.
Send them, instead of judging them, send them a resource. Send them something to help them out. And on a selfish note, go buy my book, MikeFocara.com.
There you go. Like socks on a rooster.
Back up on Amazon.
Makes total sense. I've been saying it since I was knee-high to whippersnapper. Thank you for coming on, Mike. And I asked you what we could do for you, and you do nothing but tell people to spread this show. So it just shows you the caliber of friend you are and your integrity. So like socks on a rooster, we got to get the thing back up over $10. A couple copies going. Listen, give me a call tomorrow. All right. I'd like to talk to you more about suggestions, how you think it went and everything. But I know it's getting late in the Focara household. I'm going to land the plane on my end, man. I appreciate you coming on, bud.
All right. Appreciate you having me, and thank you to everybody listening. I appreciate it.
All right. Good night. We are just chugging along here. Okay. We got, like I said, though, it's a little bit after 9:30. I feel like we covered a lot of stuff. If my phone was ringing, I would stay on till midnight. Okay. But you guys are just killing it here in the comment section. Never let me down. I just thank you so much for you. You guys keep me energized throughout the show. I get up at 3:00 in the morning. So going from 8 to 10 is a challenge when this phone's not ringing. And again, I'm not just going to go droning on and on, pontificating about what I know and what I think I could help people. But so I'm going to end this show for tonight. Andrea, thank you so much. Fabio, another guy who's just coming in here and crushing it, building these relationships through FSA and our business community down here in South Florida. But there's so many people we're going to help across the nation. My wife, Christy, thank you for chiming in, helping us get this audio thing. We'll get it figured out, I promise. Peter A., thank you for coming in. Tony Robinson, as always, every single week since week 1. Tony's been there for me. Tyler Meckes chimed in earlier. Thank you very much, Tyler. These are huge, huge, signs that we're doing the right thing. The caliper people coming on here. Stuart Goffman, I don't even know that I showed you tonight, Stuart, but thank you very much for that. That's very nice of you. Randy Ostro, I don't remember saying hello to you, but way back when we first started. Thank you all for listening in tonight. I think I got everybody. We will see you next Wednesday, same bat time, same bat channel, except we'll get the audio working better. We'll get some more phone calls in here. We'll go to 10 o'clock, promise. If people are interested, I'm going to be interested. Thank you very much. Good night.